Howdy folks, in front of us we have two spreadsheets. I am going to use these two spreadsheets to show you just a glimpse of the greatest Excel extension package ever made that is put out by Ablebits. You can see here how it's spelled. Ablebits.com is where you can get these extensions. It's a suite of individual extensions for Excel. I believe it's bundled under the Ultimate Collection for Excel. I think that's what I have. In this case, what I'm trying to do here, my objective or goal, is to take this category IDs column from this spreadsheet and put it on this spreadsheet, and I need to make sure that these category IDs are correctly associated with the SKUs. So I have them correctly associated here. I need them correctly associated on this spreadsheet. This would be a huge pain in the butt. You would probably write a macro or use some fancy function to do this. But I don't have to do that because I have these extensions, and they have literally saved hundreds of hours and added years to my life. They're fantastic. Let's get started. Merge two tables. I'm going to select all the data here, and this is my master table, or target table as I would call it. Create a backup copy of the worksheet. I'm going to leave this unchecked, but if you're just getting started, I highly recommend you create a backup of the worksheet. If you check this box, then once you run this extension, it's just going to drop another worksheet on your spreadsheet that contains all the original data as you can see it right now. One thing to note is that if you don't create a backup, like I'm not about to do, or I'm about to do, once you run this extension, there is no option to Control-Z. You cannot undo the changes. So that's why I recommend when you're getting started to check this box. I'm very comfortable with the extension. I use it all the time. I'm not going to check it. Select the lookup table. This is the base table. This contains the data that I want to add or merge rather into my master table or my target table as I would term it. Let's go ahead and select it all again just to show you how to select columns. Now you can use this to select individual rows or columns. In this case, I'm just going to select the whole spreadsheet. It's just as easy to deal with it that way. Select the matching columns. This is the column, the data that I want to use as the basis of the comparison when I'm merging the data sets across the two spreadsheets, or across the one spreadsheet into the other spreadsheet rather. I'll select SKU. Master table has headers, lookup table has headers. This is true. You can see the headers spanning both my master and my lookup table. Once I select SKU, it's going to automatically assume that in the other spreadsheet, I'm comparing against the same header if it's present. Now, if this was SKU-Z, then it wouldn't automatically populate. I would just click the down arrow and select SKU-Z. In this case, it automatically populates because they're named the same. Select the columns that will be updated in or added to the master table. Like I said, my objective is to just get the category IDs across. I don't want to do any of the other ones, so I'm going to go ahead and unselect all. I'll select the category IDs again. It'll automatically highlight add to the end. That's what I want to do. I'm not going to update the values in anything. I could say update the category IDs in the fittings connection size column B here, but that would be not wise for my particular application. So I'm going to add them to the end. Now, if I did have a heading that said category.IDs, it would automatically assume that I want to update the values in that. So let's give you an example of what I just said. Fitting material exists in both my master and lookup table. So once I select that, it's going to default to update values in fitting material. This is good. This saves time. But I'm not going to do that. As I said, I'm just worried about category IDs. So with that selected, I'm going to go next. Add rows and columns. Add non-matching rows to the end of the master table. Now where this would come into play is if I had SKUs on my lookup table that were not on my master table, it would append those to the end, to the last row. So I'm just going to leave that selected. I would suggest you just leave that on. In the case that we're looking at right now, I know both spreadsheets have an identical set of SKUs, so this isn't really applicable to this particular example that I'm about to do, but it's helpful in many other circumstances. So let's click finish, and it's going to prompt me again. Are you sure you don't want to create that backup? You're not going to be able to undo the changes. Yeah, that's fine with me. All right. 55 of 55 matching rows were found. One column was inserted. That's what we like to see. And that one column was inserted at the end, just like we went over in the options for that extension. I'm going to go ahead and cut this and insert it before column A. Now we are looking at a merged data set. I can see that all these SKUs have had their category ID associated with them, just as they are on this spreadsheet. You can imagine how much time this would save you when you're dealing with thousands and thousands of rows, as I have many different times before. It absolutely is a lifesaver. It saves a bunch of hassle. It works every time. It's fast. The extensions are cheap. Highly recommend you get yourself the Ablebits Ultimate Collection for Excel. Thanks, folks.